Howdy guys, right, I'm getting stuck into this Grundig project. Beautiful piece of engineering, I have to say. So in order to make it easier to work on the chassis just on its own, I've disconnected the speakers, having properly marked them up beforehand and taken photos and so on. And so at least now I can work on the chassis totally separate from the cab. Because I think it'll be a while before I need to connect speakers to it. All the sort of drive cords were off, except the this one here for the aerial tuning. But even that doesn't really work very well, because when you turn the control, it just kind of sort of sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. And so all the cords are generally quite oily and slippy, so I think all that stuff has to be replaced. The next thing I decided was, I started taking all the cords out, and this is the cord. I don't know if you can see this in the video, for the AM section, but it's fixed to the tuning condenser, which is directly behind here. And so there's just really no way to get a replacement cord on there. So I need to take this front plate off, and it'll need a coat of paint anyway, because it's in a fairly diabolical state, and it would be a shame to get everything going and then have a really motley panel around the back. It looks like it's going to come off. It looks like it's fitted to the subframe. I just need to make sure that I can not disturb too much here. Fascinated by this tone control graphic equalizer, so I had a look inside, and it is terrific engineering. So each one of these little guys is effectively a potentiometer, which is this little vertical piece here that you probably can't see too clearly. See if we can get more light on it. And as well as that, there is then on the other side a mechanical linkage which just purely drives this indicator mechanism to give you a visual representation. So yeah, a lot of muck in there. Cleaned that now. And I even then discovered that underneath this casing, they have a metal, well, it's actually silvered paper that they've stuck on the inside, so that it's all nice and neatly screened when you put it together. So very impressive. Most of the silver's gone off this paper though, so I'm probably going to take that off. And I have various alternatives I can use. I have either metallic paint that I use for screening, or sticky back copper foil that I use when I'm doing controlled cavities on electric guitars. So we'll definitely have this all nicely screened when we put it back on permanently. But yeah, that's really cool, and it's done. So the mechanical engineering alone is a wonder. I know putting all the dial cords back and dial drive cords is going to just drive me nuts, but hey, why not? The other interesting part of this is this amazing clutched mechanism here, which actually drives both the VHF and the AM section. And so you have two drives, one here and one here. And there's a clutch mechanism which, when you turn it one way, will drive one. Right now it's driving the front. You probably can't see it very clearly on the video. But then when I select the VHF, the clutch is activated, so this disengages, and now we're driving the back. Again, you probably can't see it that well. But yep, amazing stuff. Putting the drive cords is going to be just such good fun. And here you can see the tuning condenser with its cord, and so replacing that with this front panel in the way is just going to be painful. So I think since this guy needs painting anyway, we've got to get him. I think next step is to get this guy off, and then I'll have a lot better access to what I need to get at to move it along. Yeah, nice piece of equipment. On the electrical side of things, I've also removed the mains cable, just again so I'm not tripping over it while I'm working on the rest of the chassis, and it'll probably be a little while before I need to rewire that back up. I just started to have a look. This guy here, based on the circuit diagram, is a bridge rectifier, which is this guy here, which I've never seen one like this before. So I don't know if this is like a selenium rectifier setup or what. But yeah, so that's going to need replacing. And my good friend Matthew, who gave me this radio, also provided me with a bridge rectifier. So I'm just going to take advantage of the holes in the chassis here and bolt that guy on, and we'll wire him up neatly, and that'll be that taken care of. Then the electrolytics, the dual electrolytics, so that'll have to be replaced as well. But again, it's really nicely done. I mean, you just have to see how thin the wire is and so on that they use for interconnect. Definitely good stuff. Then these types of capacitors, this blue guy right here, from what I've seen of other guys who've restored these, this particular model, these guys are generally leaky, so good candidates to replace. So I'll replace those, another one down here, a few more over here and so on, and any of these paper guys will get done as well. Yeah, so we're getting there, we're getting started. Long way to go, but this is a really wonderful piece of technology, so I'm looking forward to firing this thing up when the time comes. Next thing I have to start looking for, I guess, is some of these components. So the dual electrolytics, hopefully I have all the caps I need, but of course I need to go and find a magic eye that I hopefully can. Would seem a shame to get all this thing done and not have a magic eye in it. Okay, so progress moving along. So I've got the front plate off the subframe, so now I can get all the rust off this, degrease, primer, and paint it all up and make it look nice. So yeah, it just bolts onto the subframe. The only thing that's left hanging when you take it off is the central tone controls. They're hanging by wires. So I'll have to get this panel back on before I do too much roughing around. So a couple of other things. I guess the first one is this wonderful clutch mechanism for the driving of the tuning condensers for both of the VHF and AM. As you can hear, there's a binding going on there, which doesn't sound very nice. And I'd say it's just that the sliding plates that are supposed to slide on the shafts are really, really stiff, and they should move relatively freely. And so that's part of the problem. So it means I don't think they're engaging as well as they ought to, and probably the rubber pads in there are well past it as well. So it looks like I'm going to need to take this little guy out of here and give him the once over. It looks like it's removable because one end, the bearing on this end, something to point with, is actually held on by a removable plate and two screws right here. So that looks like a doable thing. And then once I get it apart and have a look, I'll see what I might need in terms of rubber pads and those clutch plates. So that's that. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how it's going so far. Lots of work to do, but then that's the fun of it. That's why we're doing this stuff. So I'm going to have a go at that clutch mechanism. I'm going to paint that front panel. I want to get that back on. I'll then start on the electronics, and I'll probably need to order up the well, I'll see what I'm going to do about these electrolytics. I have the bridge rectifier, but these are 2 times 50 microfarads at, I think, around probably says it on the front here, at 350 volts. So see what we do about that. And yeah, so that's it for now.